Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of TXN Talking Wrestling. It is Guru MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. First off, we would like to wish everybody a happy new year, and we hope and pray that year 2023 will be a blessed and a great one, as always. Um, we were supposed to be on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. However, in light of some events that went down in the world of the NFL, especially with Buffalo Bills cornerback uh, Damar Hamlin and everything that went down, um, myself, Anthony Florio, and Michael Bullock held an emergency meeting on Monday night. Anthony expressed his desire not to do the show. Obviously, as a diehard and very loyal member of the Bills Mafia, understandably so, was very upset, distraught, very concerned, and rightfully so after the images and the stuff that had happened on Monday Night Football. We won't need to rehash it. We probably will talk about it tomorrow night for NFL Thursday. As right now, it looks like everything is a go for Week 18. We don't know what's going to happen with Buffalo. As of right now, we don't know about Buffalo, New England. That game looks like it might be on the back burner. We don't know just yet. All we know is that all the other games is going on as scheduled as of right now. We don't have any other switches on that lineup as of yet. We do know Buffalo, New England uh, could be put off a week. We don't know for sure. Um, all we know is right now, all of the games are a go as of now. Um, and one other thing is we don't even know when they are going to complete Cincinnati versus Buffalo. The game was stopped early in the first quarter, about midway through the first quarter, with the Bengals up 7-3 with about 6 minutes left in the first quarter at the point when the injury happened or the catastrophic incident had happened. So we we will definitely maybe get more information hopefully tomorrow on that show, and we don't know what's going to happen. If they push it off for another week, then obviously that will postpone our episode. And the only thing is that we will come back on Friday with Cerebral Smack Talk, and then we will do maybe we'll recap Battle of the Belts because I don't know if it's on a Friday or a Saturday. And what
Friday.
on a Friday, so we're gonna have a lot of things we're gonna have to maneuver. Also, we're also gonna have to preview the college football playoff national championship game. We got to get into that at some point. So we're basically we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with everything else before we really set everything in stone. So as of right now, tentatively, NFL Thursday is a go for tomorrow, but again, we are awaiting the NFL to see, are they gonna play these games? Are they gonna hold them back? What's going on? We don't know. As of now, everything is a go. So we are going to go as scheduled with that. Cerebral Smack Talk is a go for Friday. That's guaranteed no matter what. Um, we just don't know how that's going to play out. So, with that said, tonight we're going to recap Monday Night Raw because we didn't get into that. We're going to get into last night's NXT, tonight's AEW Dynamite, and we definitely will get into that. And for all you New Japan fans, this morning was Wrestle Kingdom 17. I have a full recap of that episode of what happened at the Tokyo Dome tonight as well. So, with that said, so traditionally, this is where I would indeed toss it over with Anthony Florio for the Raw recap. And Anthony, I am going to do that right now. So, with that said, this is the ridiculously raw version on Wednesday Night Madness, part of Talking Wrestling TXN. And now we give you the voice of Ridiculously Raw for the Monday Night Raw recap. Anthony Florio, front and center.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you very much indeed, Girl MF Michael Fletcher. Hello, friends. Anthony Florio here for the ridiculously raw portion of Talking Wrestling TXN. And let's not, but before I do get into that, MF, I do very much appreciate you letting us have these last couple of days to, gather our thoughts and, recover and regroup from the traumatic events of Monday night, even though they're all still entrenched in all of our minds, especially mine. But, it's, as the old saying goes, this is life and these things happen. And, it is what it is. And continued prayers, obviously, for Damar Hamlin and family, and much more than a game. That's all there is to say on that. And as hard as it is, we got to move on, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to get into Monday Night Raw from this past Monday night, the very first Monday Night Raw of the year. And I'll set it up for you all. Here we go. WWE kicked off the new year with a bang by including two big championship matches. Austin Theory put the United States Heavyweight Championship on the line against Seth frickin' Rollins, and Bianca Belair defended the Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. With the Royal Rumble now just a few weeks away, we also saw WWE begin laying the groundwork for the annual event that kicks off the road to WrestleMania. So with that, let's dive on in, friends. Here we go. Let's get this ad out of my way. All right, here we go. Now, we had the opening. We had the intro and all that. And, we were going to probably do the pyro and the whole 9 yards from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. And then all of a sudden, the Bloodline comes out and they start raising hell. And Kevin Owens comes out and he was ready to pick a fight. And then Adam Pearce was like, no. This is not going down anymore. And then Adam Pearce called for several superstars from the Raw roster. And all right. Certainly an energetic start to the show and gave us something different than the usual heel stable promo. KO trying to attack four men by himself made him look kind of dumb. But other than that, this worked well to get the crowd excited. And Adam Pearce made two huge main events in addition to the two huge main events we already had. He announced Elias would face off against Solo Sikoa in a Music City street fight. And then from there, it was also announced that the Usos and Sami Zayn would team up to take on the Street Profits and Kevin Owens in a 6-man tag team match. So we'll get into that later. But let's get into the opening thing of the night, the first big main event. The Raw Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Bianca Belair, defending against Alexa Bliss. And the fight ends via an apparent disqualification in roughly 19 minutes. We're going to have to make this an NA, but I will say this as we get it going here. The finish was definitely meant to be a part of a larger story, so the conclusion will leave fans wanting more. The spot when Belair was holding Bliss back by her head like she was a child at the beginning of the match was a bit much. The moment when Belair swung Bliss into the barricade looked good. Bliss sold the impact well. And the suplex spot when Bliss countered started off great, but the ending was a little awkward, and Belair's power is always impressive during spots like that, so it still got a reaction from the crowd. But there was a lot of clunkiness throughout the bout, and they avoided having an actual finish, and we were all hoping for a payoff to everything that's been going on with Bliss, though we should have known it wasn't going to happen since the Bray Wyatt saga is still unfolding. So feud must continue. Maybe the Rumble. I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. But reluctantly, this is going to have to be an NA. If I had to put a rating on the match, I would probably give it about 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star if I had to put a rating on it, but I can't. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. So good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. This women's title match gets thrown away via an apparent disqualification in roughly 19 minutes.
Yeah, this was an amazing fight until the end. But the glitching on the Tron of that Bray Wyatt Firefly buzzard started to hit, and you noticed Alexa kind of like trying to ward her off the first time around, but the second time she went full fiend mode, jumping the referee. That probably caused the disqualification for assaulting the referee, and then she just went on to town with Bianca Belair, leaving her in a heap. It was really good, very good storyline progression, like you said. What's the ultimate payoff? We don't know, but one thing was for sure, it definitely left us with quite a visual, to say the very least. So yeah, excellent way to start the show. If we would be able to put a rating, this was easily 3.5, no doubt. So Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Bullock, are you there?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the match was the match was good until the very end when when Alexa Bliss, like you said, went unhinged. It basically hit 2 DDTs on Bianca Belair after the match, and yeah, this feud definitely must continue, and you wonder if the second time around, if Alexa Bliss's transformation into of course, being aligned with Bray Wyatt will be complete, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to not rate this match as well. I mean, if I were to put a rating on it, 3.5 would definitely be the rating on this one, but because of the ending, it has to unfortunately be an NA. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right. And we move on to the next big main event of the evening. Solo Sikoa versus Elias in a Music City street fight. And Solo Sikoa wins the match, 14 minutes and 25 seconds. MF, what can I say? They called it a Music City street fight, even though it really had the ground. It really resembled more of a Symphony of Destruction match, to be honest with you, because we had all these sweet musical instruments and a couple of things that rubbed you and I the wrong way, personally. First off, that there was a sweet looking acoustic guitar, and ask MF and anybody who knows me how much I love acoustic guitars. When I saw that thing get shut, I'm like, no, not the acoustic, no.
Yep.
But MF, not one, but 2 drum sets got destroyed in this chaos.
Yeah, 2 drum sets gets destroyed in the chaos. And I'm more of a drummer than the guitarist. Yeah, the acoustic guitar went boom on that one, and look, it was a fine match. It was a fine match. Everything else, I like the finish of the piano getting shattered. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. Um, it was what it needed it to be. It had enough violence for it to warrant that Music City street fight and to really kind of bring that little part together to bring it all together. I liked it. I'm not gonna say I loved it, but it was still another 3-star bout because of the way that they did it, the way the body of work of the match. So it really kind of handled and played all they needed it to play. So no, they did a good job with it. There were certain elements that they could have done better, but I'm not gonna hold them accountable for every little thing. That'd be a little bit unfair to them. But they did a really good job under the circumstances, and they really went for it. So no, this was solid. 3 stars for me. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a, a really good match here. I mean, definitely. I mean, the outcome was never a doubt here. Solo Sikoa definitely was came out on top of this one, even though Elias did really put up one heck of a fight here. So I'm gonna give this about maybe a 3.5 as well. Uh, so yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, Bullock, we had a lot of fun with this during our Raw chat, our abbreviated Raw chat on Monday night. They fought all around the ring, up the aisle, and on the stage as they used whatever they could get their hands on to inflict damage. This wasn't very fast paced or exciting most of the time, but some of the weapon spots were fun. Hardy, not to be confused with the Hardy Boys or anything like that. There's a musician named Hardy. I never even heard of the guy until Monday night. Was in attendance, decided to get involved by smashing a guitar over Sikoa's back, but when it had no effect on him, Hardy bailed. And Sikoa hit the amniotic spike as Elias jumped off the top rope, and then he hit a side slam from the apron onto the piano for the win. Match was solid, not overly spectacular, but the finish looked great. They put some instruments around the ring to use as weapons. You knew as soon as that piano was visible that somebody was getting slammed on top of it. The cowbell is always going to make people think of Blue Oyster, the Blue Oyster Cult in that SNL sketch. WWE should license Don't Fear the Reaper to use as somebody's entrance music. It would have been great for The Undertaker at one point, but that opportunity's long gone. And the Samoan drop Sikoa hit on Elias out of nowhere looked awesome. 3.5 stars. I agree with the ratings. So let's continue on and move on to the 6-man tag team matchup. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits taking on the undisputed tag team champions, the Usos and Sami Zayn. The Usos and Sami Zayn win the match 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Michael Bullock, you lead off. Your thoughts?
What was the time, Florio?
11 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm sorry if you didn't hear that.
Yeah. What was the match we were talking about?
The 6-man tag, the Usos and Sami Zayn
all right.
the Street Profits and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I thought this was a it was a good match. I mean, it wasn't really that special to write home about. So I'm gonna give this about maybe I'll give this about 3.25 to 3.5 on this one. I mean, this was a really good match. I mean, basically, I mean the outcome was never in doubt. Obviously, the Usos and Sami Zayn. I mean, they reigned supreme, but then again, the whole bloodline reigned supreme on this Monday Night Raw. But I mean, you could tell this. I mean, we obviously can tell they're still teasing with the Sammy, with Sami Zayn that he's gonna be betrayed by the Bloodline, and then he's gonna team up with Owens to take on the Usos at WrestleMania, and this is where the reign of the Usos will come to an end. So nothing left for me to say except it's yours, Florio.
3.25, 3.25, 3.5. This was a very physical bout that was definitely more of a brawl than a technical showcase. Nobody was trying to work a limb or apply a headlock. They were just throwing hands and feet at whoever they could. Entertaining fight between 6 guys who are all great at what they do. It may not be memorable in the long run, but it was a solid performance for the first show of 2023. The Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre then showed up to take out the Bloodline to end the segment. Of course, let's not forget, Sheamus and McIntyre will be challenging the Usos this Friday night on SmackDown for the tag team titles. And you saw Montez Ford earlier in the night. He was shown earlier helping his wife, Bianca Belair, to the back after Alexa Bliss left her bloody and injured following their match. And he still looked like he was in a bad mood when he made his entrance for this bout. And understandably so. Ford's dropkick has to be among the top 10 in the world. It looks awesome every time. Kevin Owens talking trash in the middle of a match will always be funny. And Dawkins took Jay out with a crazy pounce at ringside. 3.25, 3.5 for this effort. So not much more for me to say. So MF, your thoughts?
Agreed. 3.25 stars. I thought this was a really good match. I thought this was a really good battle. I really enjoyed everything that played out. So yeah, nothing more to say, and it is yours. So, yep.
Our only cutout of the night, Dexter Lumis going up against Chad Gable. Dexter Lumis won the match in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and match was nothing special. Gable always looks as smooth as silk, but he can only do so much when the booking is mediocre. So we're just going to leave it at that. Damage Control comes out, cuts a promo, interrupted by Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch says, hey, I'm going to take on, we're going to end this in Nashville like it started in Nashville at SummerSlam. And so Dakota Kai and Io Sky, it looked like it was going to be those two against Becky Lynch in a handicap match. And for the first few minutes of the match, it was. Until Mia Yim, Michin showed up. And then we had ourselves a tag match. But at the end of the day, the winners of the match, 13 minutes and 50 seconds, Dakota Kai and Io Sky picking up the win. So much for a possible championship committee moment there. But match ended up being a pretty solid performance from all 4 competitors. Having Yim come out late only to end up being the one to lose is a weird choice. But having Becky eat the fall would not have made much sense either. Crowd finally woke up a little for Becky. I mean, Becky has a nice insecurity kick when she makes good contact without endangering her opponent. Dakota's running kick usually looks awesome, but she was moving a little slow when she nailed Lynch in the corner. There was less impact than usual. The announcers used the Michin nickname too much. We all know she's Mia Yim. We should just leave it at that. And Io Sky is so good at making really difficult moves look easy. Even something like a head scissor takedown looks as simple as a wrist lock to her. So that's all there is to say on that. So 3.25 to 3, another 3.25, 3.5 for this. So not much more to say here. MF champions getting the win here, and so much for what could have been a potential championship committee moment there.
Yeah, it was definitely a championship committee moment. We definitely had a situation going there. It was incredible. It was incredible. Solid match. I would probably say about I want to say about 3. About 3 is my rating for it. So yeah, could have been better, but it was fine for what it was worth. So yeah, nothing more to say. And Michael Bullock is yours.
Yeah, this was about another 3.25, 3.5 star match. I mean, this was I mean, obviously, we were thinking that maybe we were going to get a championship committee moment, but no. The whole thing, this whole thing started in Nashville when it came to SummerSlam, but with the introduction of Damage Control, and it's Damage Control that continues to reign supreme, and they continue to make Becky's life a living hell, and Becky's not going to stop until she gets payback on Damage Control. So we'll wait and see how this goes on. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right, and gentlemen, it is now time for the main event of the evening, the battle for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Austin Theory, defending against Seth freaking Rollins. The winner of the match in 23 minutes and 40 seconds, and still the United States Heavyweight Champion, Austin Theory. MF, there's nothing left to say except I know we just started the year, but we got our first legitimate match of the year candidate. What a battle.
Yeah, definitely the first legitimate. If you're talking for WWE, yes, I'll give you that. I do have a nominee that came from New Japan tonight, and there's actually a nominee that we could talk about for AEW. Already, we got 3 matches right out of the gate, one from each company that we can already put into our match of the year candidate bag. So yeah, this was definitely a match of the year candidate. 4 to 4.25. You can even make an argument for 4.5, but I think 4.5 might be a little bit of a reach. But 4 to 4.25 stars, absolute banger of a main event, tremendous match to say the very least, and I enjoyed it from beginning to end. This was absolutely phenomenal, incredible. Body of work was amazing. Really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, what a match this was. Our first legitimate match of the new year, and this is what we get here. Woof, man, what a match. I'll go 4.25 on this one. It was teetering on 4.5, but I think 4.25 is the right rating for this. And yeah, Austin Theory. Say what you want about the guy, but man, he put on a legitimate match here, and he proved why he's worthy of that United States Championship. And ever since that when he lost that Money in the Bank, the attitude has changed, and he we're seeing a different and a better looking Austin Theory. But if you notice, like, I think it was after Seth freaking Rollins got hurt, and and I posted, and you guys saw on the Talking Wrestling TXN News when he put out that tweet, and it was the same one they put after he suffered that knee injury. I'm trying to remember see if I can pull it up here.
It was November of 2015, just a few
Well, he
weeks
said,
before the Survivor
"Design,
Series.
rebuild, and reclaim."
Yep. That was when Seth Rollins injured his knee November of 2015 at a house show in a match against Kane, and that's what caused them to do that big tournament for the WWE Championship that Roman Reigns went on to win, only for Sheamus to cash in Money in the Bank at Survivor Series 2015 in Atlanta. And then Seth Rollins, we didn't see him back again until the Extreme Rules pay-per-view when he attacked Roman, and we all know how the story played out after that.
Yeah. So obviously it looks like Seth Rollins is going to be out of action for a little bit. So hopefully it's not too long, and that we do see him back in time for WrestleMania. So there's really nothing more for me to say except it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. I'm just looking into it. I haven't heard anything about how long he's going to be out for, but it was after the match where he threw up the X, and yeah, it's unclear whether it was a legitimate injury or some kind of a post-match angle for the Visionary to sell an injury for forthcoming storylines, or maybe perhaps to write him off TV until the Royal Rumble. But we'll definitely keep an eye on it as soon as we find anything out. But what I do know is, with all due respect, gentlemen, I disagree. This was a 4.5 star match. I don't care what anybody says. This to me was 4.5 stars. These guys have worked together multiple times and have continued to gain more chemistry with each encounter. So it was no surprise that this ended up being the fight of the night. After a long, entertaining, and competitive bout, Theory was able to win with a low blow and the A-Town down. You could almost feel the enthusiasm of the crowd get sucked out of the arena when the referee counted to 3. Rollins was chopping the skin off Theory's chest at one point. The champ was looking pretty red after that was over. The reflective boots Rollins wore during this match were cool. You don't see that level of shine on gear very, very much. Rollins tried to lift Theory up for a powerbomb and ended up losing his footing. It looked like he might have tweaked his knee, but he kept going and even ran up to the top turnbuckle to hit an impressive suplex moments later. 4.5 stars for me. This was the fight of the night. Incredible match. Great way to start the year. So, not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, even though you and I did not finish our Raw chat, we ended it prematurely because of the situation that happened Monday night, and rightfully so. But I'm sure you probably got a chance to review the parts of Raw that we missed out on, as I did. So, but your overall thoughts on this first Monday Night Raw 2023 from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville?
Yeah, I thought this was a very good first Monday Night Raw of 2023. We only had one bad match from this, but everything else was solid to good to even great. So I'll give this about maybe an 8 out of 10. But of course, basically everything, of course, got overshadowed because of the fortunate thing that happened on Monday Night Football with Damar Hamlin, and it literally like sucked the life out of all of us when we saw it. And I did watch Monday Night Raw afterwards, but it was a good show. But in the end, nobody was talking about Monday Night Raw because everybody, even today, is still talking about the whole situation with Damar Hamlin. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
And rightfully so on that. But it's 8 to 8.5 for me. Very good show. I mean, only one bad match. All the other matches were solid to good to great. That main event was amazing, and all the other matches, like I said, were also done very well. Some good storyline progression, and we finally, got that great Monday Night Raw after a couple of lackluster weeks, including a best of show and some holiday silliness at times. But thankfully, that's all over now, and now we can literally start the road to the Royal Rumble, and we can literally start WrestleMania season, which is very exciting to think about. And that's all there is to say on that. So great way to start the year. The best, I mean, after a couple of lackluster weeks, we definitely kicked it back up a notch, and it was about time. And I knew we were gonna have a bit of a dry spell, but thankfully everything's okay now, and we're back to normal here. And it's gonna be interesting to see how Raw is gonna function without two of our best workers, Seth frickin' Rollins and the phenomenal AJ Styles, because AJ Styles is out with an injury too. So, but I know Team Red's going to soldier on as only we can, and it's going to be hard to do it without two of our top frontline soldiers in Seth and AJ. But I'm sure we'll be fine. So do the best we can, and then hopefully we'll get them back either one at a time or right around the same time. I don't know, but 8.5 for me on this one. So MF, you have the last word. You take it home on this, and then you'll be taking over the rest of the way as part of Wednesday Night Madness.
Yes, indeed. 8.5 is the rating. I definitely agree with it. I think you guys absolutely nailed it. It was a good show for the most part. And yeah, so really nothing more to add. It's time to go into NXT. And we started it off with Carmelo Hayes versus Apollo Crews. Carmelo Hayes winning the match in 14 minutes and 28 seconds. Fight of the night. Right out of the gate, they gave us the fight of the night. 3.5 to 3 3/4. You could make an argument for 4. This was an excellent match. Very good TV quality matchup. It was good to solid all the way through. Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews really brought it, especially Hayes. You already know how much I love Carmelo Hayes, man. He's been one of the best guys in NXT, and yet he proves it yet again. Great matchup to jump it off. Anthony Florio is yours. Carmelo Hayes winning the match in 14 minutes and 28 seconds.
100% agree. Fight of the night. Very good match. Even though Mello had to slow down for Crews in spots, what worked well was the focus on the knee of Crews as well as the clean finish. It sold how dangerous the A champion is to Braun Breaker if Breaker gets past Grayson Waller next week at New Year's Eve. Finish was a bit mistimed, but the two have chemistry to explore. Crews just needs to open up his arsenal more for the rematch down the line if he wants to prove himself as a top guy again. Booker T described this as a main event anywhere in the world, but this was not even the main event of this episode of NXT. Trick Williams distracted Crews on the apron, allowing Mello to kick him to the floor. The A champion planted Crews with a powerbomb, then transitioned into a single-leg Boston Crab. The Nigerian Warrior battled out but was left limping, and Crews answered a pump kick with a pump kick, but Mello responded with a cutter. Fantastic match. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. 100% agree with the ratings. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, what a great first match for your guys and gals of NXT. What a way to start the new year with this great match with Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews. Great start. Fight of the night, 3.5, 3 3/4.
Yeah, this was definitely a 3.5-star match and a great way to start off the first NXT of 2023. And I mean, Carmelo Hayes continues to show why he is the best right now in NXT. And like you said, I mean, somewhere down the line, Hayes will get a shot at the NXT title, depending on what happens with Waller and Breaker. So, I mean, Crews and Hayes definitely worked well together in this, and definitely got to give credit to both of them here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to add to this. So it's your splitch.
All right, and the next thing that we did have, it was Axiom going one-on-one with Trick Williams. Axiom wins the match in 3 minutes and 18 seconds. I leave it to you guys. If you guys want to talk about it, we can. If you guys want to move on, I definitely don't mind it. Because right
What was
after
the match
that,
again? What was it again?
Axiom versus Trick Williams, and Axiom winning in 3:18.
I'm not sure. Well, it's really
Move
your
on.
show.
Okay, he called it. Move on.
Yeah,
And
that's fine.
I was about to say it too. I was like, I'm not really like it was good while it lasted, but it wasn't really anything special there. Then we had Dijak going up against Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Dijak winning the match, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Again, another solid match, but another too short for our liking type of a situation. Then we had ourselves an interesting dilemma. All right, so you had Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane. They were cutting a promo. Then it got and they were basically saying, it's Roxanne Perez's fault for Toxic Attraction getting blown to bits. we know what the real story was, but okay. So then Indy Hartwell came out. Then Cora Jade was there, Nikita Lyons, and then Zoe Stark, then Wendy Chu. So Taya Hale comes out. She basically, well, she said the two words that kind of got me, Florio and Michael Bullock. We all were like, oh, girl fight. The next thing we know, it didn't turn into no girl fight. It turned into a cat fight. Cat fight. So it was a total free for all brawl. Absolutely insanity. But Roxanne Perez comes out. Well, she was standing up on the crow's nest up at the top saying, well, ladies, whoa, I'm cool with this, but let's do it next week. Or we'll do this at New Year's Evil, and the winner of the women's battle royale that you guys are doing right now will get to fight me at Revolution for the NXT women's title. So, golden opportunity just opened up for every woman. Battle Royale next week at New Year's Evil. Winner fights at Revolution for the NXT Women's title. It was good at the beginning, and Anthony, you can jump in on this. It was good at the beginning, but once the moving parts, once everybody started to have their say, it kind of went a little down until the brawl broke out, and then we were like, "Oh yes, let's go."
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what I envisioned. I had MF doing that, doing the infamous Joey Styles cat fight thing. I mean, but I'll tell you what, it highlighted so many of the women in NXT. It's a good idea to have the women earn that first shot at Perez rather than just having Toxic Attraction talk their way into a match. And next week, we're going to have ourselves a 20-woman battle royale, and the winner of that battle royale will challenge Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship at Vengeance Day on Saturday night, February the 4th, from the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. So big opportunity for whoever comes out of that. It's tough to call. I mean, there's so many ways it could go. I mean, it could be one of Toxic Attraction, but I also would not be surprised if they decide to give it to Cora Jade. I mean, resume that rivalry and have it be for the title. I mean, there's a lot of ways they can go with it, but I know the segment's not going to be for everybody, but it was a fun and chaotic segment there. And, I very easily could have thrown in on the infamous Jerry Lawler joke where Jerry Lawler would always say, "Oh, this is what I envisioned heaven being like." So, but yeah, but that's all there is to say on that. So, not much more to say. So, Michael Bullock, 20-woman battle royale Tuesday night, New Year's Evil. The winner gets Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship at Vengeance Day on February the 4th. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed this segment. I mean, I thought it was. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but it was chaotic. I mean, and I love the way how they're doing this. I mean, instead of just giving it the first shot to one of the members of Toxic Attraction, but you have the 20 women face off in a battle royal, and the winner, like you said, will face Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship at Vengeance Day. So there are a lot of ways they can go about with this. I mean, I mean, part of me thinks Zoe Stark is going to win this because she's talked about wanting a shot at the NXT Women's title. But I could also see Cora Jade and basically rekindle that rivalry, only this time for the championship. So, I mean, there's so many ways they can do it, but we'll wait and see what happens. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, agreed. And two other names that I know that you keep a close eye on: Tiffany Stratton and Nikita James. I think those two names also have to be close. You got to keep a very watchful eye on. Zoe Stark, Cora Jade, definitely odds-on favorites because you got to know that it's going to be a heel. A heel is most likely going to be the first challenger for the title. So that would probably be the four that I would keep a watchful eye on more than anything else. And yeah, so we'll wait and see how it plays out. I liked it. I thought it was a really good story and how it plays out. Um, Nothing more to say there. Next up, Alba Fire versus Isla Dawn in an Extreme Resolutions match. And okay, now there was a fight before the match even got started. So, as far as from bell to bell, it was 9 minutes and 35 and 37 seconds. However, if you include the pre-match fight, this bout went 15 minutes long. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Man, this is tough for me to rate this. I mean, because you did have but for me, I have to go with the way. I mean, the bell to bell match, and you said from bell to bell was
9:37.
9:37. So I'm gonna base it on that only because the pre the stuff happened was before the bell, and to me, I don't count that. So I'm gonna give this about maybe uh 3 stars. I mean, if you want to rate it higher and include that, then you know what? I'm not gonna complain about it. So, but that's just how I feel on it. So, I mean, Alba Fire getting the win, obviously, a little payback on Isla Dawn here. So yeah, I mean, a nice win for her. So now, what's next for Alba Fire? So we'll see what happens. So 3 stars is my rating for it. I mean, Fletch, if you want to rate it higher because of the stuff before the bell, I got no problem with it. But that I only go from bell to bell. That's just my opinion.
I kind of had to add that pre-fight stuff, so I'm actually going to give it 4. And because of everything that encompassed it, this was a really good PG level fight. This is what we wanted. Yes, I know we're living in the PG era, especially with WWE, but if you want to talk about a hardcore fight, bringing it down to these two women, this was second best fight of the night. Like, even though Carmelo Hayes and Apollo basically shattered the glass ceiling, this one here was solid. It was good. The brawl looked great. The action was amazing. And it was, this is what, if you wanted it a blow off between Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, this is exactly what you wanted. This was absolute amazing, damn near perfection in my eyes, and neither women gave an inch. And they took the mile and they ran with it and they destroyed each other. And that's exactly what this needed it to be. These two women do not like each other. They gave me the fire, they gave me the intensity, they gave me that rivalry that I don't like you, I'm gonna kill you type attitude. And that's exactly what I was getting from, that was the vibe I was getting from this match. And I say, thank you. Please give me one more of these type of matches. I like to see more of this at NXT. If you want to do a hardcore fight, this is the blueprint, ladies and gentlemen. Try to top that. Anthony, yours.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm with MF on this one. I'm giving it 4 as well. Second best fight of the night. This was a much stronger match, wrestled far more cleanly than their first. The two fought throughout the arena and differentiated their offense in a long match, especially including the brawl before the bell rang. This should be the end of Fire and Dawn's rivalry given the name of their match. However, the conclusion felt more confused than anything. It's unclear what Dawn got out of all this, as Fire did not seem that different from normal by the end of the match. Dawn is already lost on the main roster, but if this somehow leads to Fire changing and maybe even tagging with Dawn, that could be worth it. The brawl that began in the last segment continued as referees repeatedly scolded the talent awkwardly until they got to the ring. Dawn taunted Fire repeatedly into embracing her dark side. Fire hit the gory bomb for a near fall, then set a steel chair on Dawn for a senton bomb, but her opponent responded by throwing the chair into her face, and Dawn tried to break the fingers of Fire with a wrench and a hammer. So 4 stars for me. This was the second best fight of the night. So, well, the first match should really be about 4 stars as well, and this one may be about 4 as well. So, two legitimate fight of the night contenders between Cruz and Hayes and this. So, yeah. But I'm leaning more towards Cruz and Hayes. So I could give this about 3.5, 3 3/4 for it. So not much more to say on that. So let's move on.
Oro Messiah versus Big Body Jaffe. And it was Oro winning the match in 3 minutes and 48 seconds. It was there. Nothing really to speak about on that one. Then we had Andre Chase versus Drew Gulak. And when it was all said and done, it was Drew Gulak winning the match in 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Another all right match. Joe Gacy going one-on-one with Kofi Kingston. Kofi winning the match in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. So, Anthony, quick thought on this one?
Yeah, 2.5 stars. Fun little sprint. It may I'll say it like this. While Gacy is far from ready to truly defeat Kofi one-on-one, it's a bit confusing for Schism to pick up a loss again so soon after finding momentum. Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler can have a great match with New Day, but the timing may not be right. The rematch of New Day versus Pretty Deadly is still the hottest match NXT can put on, and everything else will be overshadowed in the meantime. And it may have been more about Kofi testing a young talent nearly ready to jump to the main roster. And in that respect, Gacy looked good. I could give it about 2.5 stars on the match. Dyad went after Woods at ringside until Kofi laid them out with a dive. So that's all there is on that. And Pretty Deadly confronted the New Day in the locker room and demanded a title shot, willing to go through a gauntlet to earn another opportunity. So don't be surprised if that rematch goes down at Vengeance Day on February 4. So 2.5 stars, fun little sprint. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I mean, this was it was a fun little sprint. I mean, it definitely could have been better, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Kofi getting the win over Joe Gacy here, and basically took some of the momentum away from Schism. But who knows? Maybe after Kofi and Xavier are done with Pretty Deadly, maybe the 2 other members of Schism will get the next shot at the NXT Tag Team title. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. So there's really nothing more for me to add on to this. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, this was solid. Really nothing more to add here. So, and then it led us to the final part. It was Grayson Waller promo with Ron Breaker. Bullock, it just kind of sets up everything for their title fight at New Year's Evil.
Yeah, it was a fine segment to close out the show. I mean, obviously Grayson Waller doing what he can to get under the skin of Braun Breaker, and Breaker basically had enough of Waller's BS and got a little payback on him. So some nice little way to close out the show. So it's your Fletch.
Yeah, nice little way to close out the show. It was solid for what it was worth. Eh, Look, this was a nice little go home thing more than anything else. So I'm not gonna say too much about it, but it was fine for what it was worth. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, fine segment, but did not come off as a true rising moment before New Year's Evil. Waller has done so much to goad Breaker into getting aggressive, which should have made this feel more heated. It felt more like a first chapter rather than the penultimate. Breaker should have either kept his focus until Waller broke, or the champion should have been ready to fight from the start. Middle ground was a waste of time. Still, it feels like either man could walk out champion. It's more likely Breaker retains, but Waller has a chance to truly solidify his NXT status with the performance of his career next week. And Waller was confident he had the mental edge over Breaker in his interview early in the night. So that's really all I can say about it. Fine segment, not overly earth-shattering. So not much more to say here. So let's get to our overall review.
Yeah, solid NXT, pretty good show. I'm not gonna say it was anything bad. I'd probably say maybe 6 stars out of this. I thought they did a really good job. I really enjoyed the body of work. I really enjoyed everybody doing what they needed it to do, and it was solid for what it was worth. So yeah, it was good action, well done by everybody involved, and really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's all yours. So 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 for me as well. Um, it we did have some good match. We had a few good matches. Couple of and then the usual meh fights as usual, but solid, not overly spectacular show. We'll see about how New Year's Evil goes down next week. Usually when they have these special theme shows, they usually do pretty good with them. So I have no reason to believe they won't. So 6.5 for me. Bullet, take it home, and then we'll get into an unbelievable AEW Dynamite from Seattle.
Yeah, 6.5. I agree. I mean, it was solid, but not overly spectacular. I mean, you had some good moments here, but you also had some short matches too with it. So yeah, so I thought they did all right with this edition of NXT. So 6.5. So Fletch, let's reset and talk about the first Dynamite of 2023.
Yeah, from Seattle, Washington, from the Climate Pledge Arena, formerly known as the Key Arena in Seattle, Washington. Uh, and we started it off with a match. It was Ricky Starks, absolute Ricky Starks, going one on one with El Ocho, Chris Jericho. And it was Ricky Starks pulling off the upset win over Jericho in 12 minutes and 10 seconds. But then the Jericho Appreciation Society making the jump, the attack on him after the match was over. And then after that, Action Andretti tried to run in to get a little bit of a payback, but then the numbers game, the Jericho Appreciation Society basically getting the upper hand again. Good spot, good match to start it off for AEW. This was easily about a 3-star fight. Really nothing more to add here. So, Anthony, it's yours as Ricky Starks starts off his new year with a big win over Chris Jericho.
Perhaps the biggest win of his career. Maybe could lead to some bigger wins during this year. Great way to start the first episode of Dynamite in 2023, as the crowd was red hot for everything and really bought into Absolute as the babyface against a hated established heel like Chris Jericho. Action was solid, if not spectacular, and really presented Starks as someone who could soldier through everything thrown his way and still score the all-important win. It was interesting to see the commentary team point out Jericho has lost 2 in a row rather than really putting over Stark's win. But that's to be expected at this point, as the future Hall of Famer's influence over the show is readily apparent. Still, the crowd received everything well, treated Starks like a star, and even popped huge for Action and Andretti, proving this was a great city in which to kick off a new era of AEW. Starks looked big time on that new set, that new stage. His graphics shining bright as he made his entrance for this high-profile bout. Starks showed off some great agility, replicating The Undertaker's famed old-school rope walk and adding a strut to go along with it. Jericho delivered a suplex from the apron to the floor, heading into the commercial break. And despite outside interference from Angelo Parker and Matt Menard, including a shot to the face with Floyd, the baseball bat, by Parker, the Ocho could not defeat Ricky Starks with the walls of Jericho. 3.5 stars. Great way to start this show. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, no question, the biggest win of Ricky Starks' AEW career. And who knows, could it lead to some bigger wins down the line here in 2023?
Yeah, this was definitely the biggest win of Ricky Starks' career at AEW. I mean, pulling off the big upset over Chris Jericho, and hopefully it leads to some bigger wins for him in this year. But unfortunately, his win does have a price, because Chris Jericho, well, let's just say he doesn't take losing or getting upset by someone who is below his level too kindly. So he sent the entire Jericho Appreciation Society to do the dirty work on him, and Action Andretti tried to basically put a stop to it, but he got jumped by the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then ended with Starks getting powerbombed right through the table. So that, Fletch, as I give it to you, basically Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society send a message saying, if you think of getting an upset win over Chris Jericho, your victory will have a price to pay, because no one, and I mean no one, tops Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yeah, no doubts. It was that message sent, message received is what we say. All right, so next up we had was an AEW World Tag Team title fight. It was the Acclaim going up against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Now this was all kinds of craziness. So initially, it looked like that we had an unprecedented crowning. We had history made. We thought that Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal had won the AEW World Tag Team titles. But as you notice, there was a little bit of some controversy. At first, I think it was either Max Caster or Anthony Bowens had his foot on the rope and got knocked off the rope by Sanjay Dutt. Head referee in charge did not see it. Aubrey Edwards sure as hell saw it, because she beelined into the ring. This was after Satnam Singh got thrown out of the fight. So all the referees were all there trying to get Satnam out of there. And that's when the controversial 1, 2, 3 came out, and Aubrey's like, whoa, no. I saw it with my own eyes. Foot was on the rope. Sanjay knocked the rope off, pulled the leg, knocked the leg off the rope. No. That was definitely 2. This 3 fall does not count. They restarted. Acclaim wins the titles and successfully defend it. Anthony, I don't have a time of the fall. I do believe it was somewhere in the 12 to 13 minute range, though. I think it was like 13 minutes unofficially. But my goodness, what a crazy title fight this was.
That's called a dusty finish, for anybody who's wondering.
Yes. 13 minutes.
You got it?
Yep.
Oh, all right. I was ready to look into it, but
Yep, I got it.
okay, even 13. All right. Yeah. With that being said, hey, it's been a long time since we've seen a dusty finish. I mean, we all remember, there've been a lot of instances of dusty finishes in professional wrestling for over a number of years, but we got one here. And Aubrey Edwards. Aubrey Edwards is a Seattle girl, so she's a hometown hero. And she informed the referee Stefan Smith of the chicanery, ordered the match restarted, and Anthony Bowens with the win off that unique pinning combination on Jay Lethal. Match was good, old-fashioned fun with a slightly overbooked finish / dusty finish that was executed so well that it can easily be forgiven. Aubrey Edwards got to shine, much to the delight of the audience, and the right team ultimately went over, so the false finish was harmless and drummed up some drama to boot. And Jeff Jarrett applied an ankle lock, taunting on and off screen rival Kurt Angle and causing Taz to recite the old TNA wrestling tagline, "Cross the line." Of course, Taz once worked for them, of course, as we all know. And Jay Lethal manipulated the situation, taunting Billy Gunn, who got daddy ass ejected from ringside. And that's all there is to say on that. So I'll give this about 3.25 to 3.5 for the effort. So not much more to say here, except let me tell you this. If that ending had held up, you would have had to hold Michael Bullock back because it's well documented. Michael Bullock absolutely loathes and detests Sanjay Dutt, and he would have unleashed hell if that finish had held up. But thankfully, Bullock, that finish did not hold up, thanks to Seattle's own Aubrey Edwards.
Aubrey Edwards was the hero.
Calling for the reversal and to restart the bout, and thankfully the right team won this match. But so help me, if that ending had held up, we would have had to hold you back.
Yeah, you would have had to hold me back because I've told these two, and if you haven't heard people for the first time of how much I hate Sanjay Dutt, because he is nothing more than an annoying little prick as far as I'm concerned. I mean, and memo to Sanjay Dutt, you thought you could get away with what you did, but here's the thing. I mean, what was that? I mean, your cheating basically came back and bit your team in the ass, and it came back big time. And you thought you could get away with it? No. I mean, Washington's own Aubrey Edwards did the right thing, basically reversed the decision, and the match continued. And the Acclaim, I mean, the right team went over, and they are still the tag team champions. So 3.25 to 3.5 is my rating on this match here. So it's yours, Fletch.
I will unofficially, guys. I did make a minor gripe here. It's 10 minutes and 50 seconds, but it's still 3.25, 3.5. The match was amazing. The body of work was great. Yes, we had a false finish. And I get it. I don't mind it because I know Bullock. I could have imagined what Bullock was thinking when that foot was on the rope and the knockoff by Sanjay and the 1-2-3. Did you see the reaction from the crowd in Seattle? I think there was gonna be a riot in Seattle tonight, and I think they were. I think that's why they brought Aubrey out there, because they knew if that decision would have held and we would have had new champions, the Seattle crowd would have gone crazy. They were definitely fired up more than anything else. That was crazy, man. Nothing more to say, but it is what it is. So now, next up we had was the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. He went up against the Supreme Athlete, Tony Nese. Bryan Danielson wins the match 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Then he cuts a promo bringing out MJF, and MJF is like, you know what, Bryan, you're not even worthy of being number one contender for the AEW championship, so I'm going to make you run a gauntlet. You got to fight from now until February, and you got to win all your matches. If you do, then I will think about giving you an AEW World Title match. So at that point, Danielson's like, all right, fine. If you're going to do it that way, I'll run your stupid gauntlet. And when I fight and get you for the world title, the AEW World Championship, when I fight you, I want something from you. I don't think you got the heart. I don't think you got the passion. I don't think you got the chutzpah. I don't think you got what it takes to hang with the best wrestler in the world today. The best in the world, which is me. So we'll do this. You and me, one-on-one, AEW World Title, 1 hour Iron Man match. What? Okay, Michael Bullock, you got to decipher all this. First off, the match, standard prototypical fight, not to talk about. Who cares? We need to get into that promo. Iron Man match, 1 hour, Bryan versus MJF. Man, MJF is about to earn his stripes, and he's going to be doing it against one of the greatest technical wrestlers in the world today.
And what's the thing you want to say, Fletch, after you heard that announcement?
Oh my God, shut up and take my freaking money.
Exactly. That's what I was waiting to hear. I mean, yeah, the match I'm not going to really get into, but man, the back and forth between MJF and Bryan Danielson was just so awesome. This was the segment of the night, hands down. I mean, MJF is money on the mic as always, but this to me was probably one of the best promos we've seen from Bryan Danielson in a long time. And basically say, you know what, when I do get my, how about we make it an Iron Man match for 60 minutes? Basically saying that you don't have the heart, you don't have the passion of being the best wrestler in the world, even with that AEW title. So we're going to put that to the test. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to happen. And all I can say is, I mean, this to me has the potential to be another candidate for Fight of the Year. I mean, when you get these two, especially in a 60-minute Iron Man match, oh man, this has got something. Now, for those who don't know what an Iron Man match is, you base it, especially for 60 minutes, these two are going to be wrestling for 60 minutes. And whoever has the most decisions at the end of it will be the winner, and in this case, AEW World Champion. I mean, I cannot wait to see what happens with that. So Fletch, it is yours. I mean, 60-minute Iron Man match between these two. I think we have another candidate for Fight of the Year.
Oh, without a doubt, this will definitely be up there for Fight of the Year. 60-minute Iron Man match is not to sneeze at, guys. I mean, you're talking about you gotta have the cardio, you gotta have the workout, you gotta fight in distance. And the thing is that when you talk about Iron Man matches, there are very few that we've witnessed in professional wrestling. Obviously, the most notable one, the one that everybody goes back to, is WrestleMania 12. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the first ever Iron Man match. for, at the time, the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And it was Shawn Michaels winning the match in overtime. Remember, the match, the time limit expired with a 0-0 draw, but we did have a look. They did give us an overtime, basically about a three. I think it was about 3 minutes into the overtime period, and Shawn Michaels won the match and thus became the WWF champion for the first time in his career. That was that boyhood dream that we talk about. Not many we've had in the history of professional wrestling. We've had 30 minutes, but when you do a 60-minute Iron Man match, oh my goodness. The match itself was maybe 1 star for what it was worth, but like I said, the promo and the announcement of a possible Iron Man match. Remember, he's got to go through the gauntlet, Bryan Danielson, just to get to that fight. He's got to be undefeated from now until I think they said February 8th. If he can be undefeated from now until February 8th, then he gets the fight. But you know MJF is going to stack the deck. He's going to throw everybody at Danielson just to make sure he doesn't get to that fight. But he's going to have to do it now. So we'll wait and see what happens. Anthony Florio, Christmas was back in December. If this Iron Man fight actually happens, man, Christmas comes early for you. Because you love this type of match.
I am the Port Authority on Iron Man matches. And yes, of course, we all remember Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12. That's the reason why. I mean, not just for me, but for many wrestling fans on March the 31st of 96. That was the only reason why they wanted to buy the pay-per-view in the first place. And that's why I wanted to get the pay-per-view in the first place, so I could see this match. Guess what? It happened. I actually got it. I got to see it, and it was a moment that I will never forget. To see that thing live, I mean, that was an experience for me, and we've seen so many others over the years. The Rock and Triple H, Judgment Day 2000. I mean, how about Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle on that SmackDown in 2003? I mean, they haven't been just 60 minutes. There have been even some for 30 minutes. And, you know, just so many great memories. That you boys just conjured up a lot of great memories for me when you brought that all up. But, all right. Obviously, the match was whatever. Dud enhancement fight. Wow. Just the Iron Man match is simply, it will occur. And it will be absolute fire. And the journey to it will be a fun one. And I'm hopeful that Bryan Danielson can stay healthy enough to get there. And MJF, well, when it comes to Danielson, he said that he started the whole thing by saying, "I'm feeling a little froggy and I'm ready for another fight." MJF, get your ass out here. And then MJF saying, "Unlike you, Brian, I don't get my rocks off by putting my body on the line to entertain these schmucks. I don't care about them at all." And MJF also said, if Lance Storm and Dean Malenko were somehow able to procreate, their kid would still be more charismatic than you. And MJF said, if you want a shot at the grandest prize of them all, you've got to be the number one contender. And if you can win every week between now until February 8th, I'll give you a shot at the Triple B at Revolution. And you heard MJF incite the names Jim Cornette, Eric Bischoff, and Disco Inferno to garner some heat. Incredible segment here. And the match is going to happen. Let's be realistic. I mean, you're gonna do all that hype and not deliver. You're damn sure going to have to deliver. So, and for Danielson, the first match of that gauntlet will be next week on Dynamite. And he's got to go up against Konosuke Takeshita. He's got to go up against Takeshita next week. And that's not going to be easy because we know the body of work of that young man. He's going to give Danielson some major fits. So that's all there is to say on that. So not much more on that. So fantastic segment. Match was blah. So let's move on.
All right. So with that said, let's get into the next one. This one was a good one, folks. This was an entertaining fight. Uh, Swerve Strickland versus AR Fox. Swerve Strickland winning the match in 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Yeah, this was good. This was bad. This was, and I mean bad in a good way. This was an excellent matchup. Um, you could even make an argument for fight of the night. This was 3 stars, 3 to 3.5. I mean, this was solid. This was good. The action was fast paced. It was all over the place. I really got nothing bad to say about this one. This was a fine match. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Did you say 906?
906.
MF, I have a feeling you've seen these boys wrestle before. Am I right on that?
Yes.
Can you say Lucha Underground?
Lucha Underground, yes.
Kill Shot, Dante Fox?
Yep.
So.
And they tore the house down that time, too. It was just as good. Not as good as this one, but just as good.
All right. The match was very competitive with unquestionable chemistry between the competitors. Strickland looked like a star, shining bright early, often, and especially at the end. Fox was every bit as good and really sold his opponent's offense to further put him over. It accomplished what it set out to, and the result was the continued elevation of Strickland. So Strickland countered a cutter into a German suplex in a badass spot. Fox delivered his picture-perfect 450 splash for 2, and Strickland delivered a Death Valley driver on the ring apron. That left Taz and the commentators to say there's no way Fox is doing anything else in this match. So 3 1/4, 3.5. Very fun little sprint, no doubt about it. So Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 3 1/4, 3.5. I mean, this was a fun little spread. I mean, yeah, AR Fox definitely pushed Swerve Strickland to the limit here, but in the end, I think we all knew Swerve Strickland was going to go over here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. So, it's your Fletch.
All right, next up we had was a women's tag team fight, as it was Sky Blue and Kiera Hogan. They went up against Red Velvet and Jade Cargill. It was Jade Cargill and Red Velvet winning the match. 6 minutes and 43 seconds. Anthony, quick thought.
2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Match was not necessarily pretty and was rather disjointed, even as the effort was clearly there. Red Velvet aligning with Jade Cargill, then immediately taking exception to her and her demands was an interesting booking decision. It felt very thrown together rather than well thought out. That Velvet still has not necessarily connected with audiences, while Cargill is uber over, does not help the story the creative forces are attempting to tell here. And Cargill demanded Velvet get in the ring and whoop her ass, but the latter refused and walked out. So, no surprise about the outcome, though. Maybe this could lead to a Cargill and Velvet feud, possibly. We'll have to find out. So, 2.5, 2 3/4. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I mean, it was a fine match, but I think it definitely could have been a lot better here. But yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. I mean, to see Jade Cargill basically demanding Red Velvet to come in and basically kick their ass, but. And you wonder if this was basically the breaking point where Velvet's like, you know what? I'm not going to take your crap anymore. I'm done. I'm walking out. So you wonder if this is where Red Velvet's finally done with the ridiculous demands of Jade Cargill. So, and that she's going to leave Cargill and Layla Gray. So we'll wait and see what happens. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This was about 2.5. I'll give that. I mean, it was a fun match. It wasn't anything that would have been like, wow, that was spectacular. It was good. It was there. So nothing more to say. Main event of the evening was for the AEW TNT title, and it was Samoa Joe versus Darby Allin, and the winner of the bout in 8 minutes and 42 seconds, and new AEW TNT champion Darby Allin winning the title over Samoa Joe. Michael Bullock, you lead off.
And I guess we could say history was made, Fletch.
Yes, indeed, it was.
Yeah, and Darby Allin is, of course, now once again the TNT champion. So yeah, I'll give this about 3.25 for this one. I mean, I thought it was a solid main event, and yeah, I mean, we have a new champion, and what a nice moment there for Darby Allin. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's your Fletch.
3.25, 3.5 is my rating for the match. This was an amazing main event. This was a great fight and a great battle. I saw it. I was like, wow, this was incredible. Good action all the way through. Yeah, nothing bad to say. This was a great way to go home for the first night of the new AEW Dynamite era, and boy, they delivered in spades. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, 3.25, 3.5 for me.
And the time once again?
It was 8:42.
Yeah, 3.25 to 3.5 here. This was something we don't get from AEW very often. A legitimate moment. The match was fine, if somewhat rushed and lacking in comparison to the narrative of their first bout, but the post-match events are really what elevated the segment. And of course, when we crown a new champion in AEW, you know what that means, boys. Tripod confetti.
Yep. There was a lot of it too.
Yes, indeed. And Monsoon, history was made. Would you go as far as maybe to call this an unprecedented crowning?
Yes. Very much so. Absolutely.
I would have as well. I mean, because look who Darby Allin beat for that title tonight. Samoa Joe? Hello. I mean, we know the body of work. Ring of Honor, TNA, WWE, AEW, anywhere else he's been. I mean, you can make an argument maybe this was Darby's biggest win. I mean, maybe even bigger than when he beat Cody Rhodes for it. So that's just my personal thought. But the eruption of the fans, the tripod confetti, and the arrival of Sting all helped make this a truly special moment, not just for Darby Allin, but for the company as a whole. With so much attention being paid to Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, here was a homegrown star who has been over with fans since day one, closing out the show on what had been dubbed as a new era of AEW Dynamite. It was the right call in the right city, and whether you like him or his in-ring style or not, the right guy for the job. It was a feel-good moment and one that can replay in best-of videos for years to come. And Allin embraced Nick Wayne, son of his trainer Buddy, an independent breakout star. Joe attacked the 17-year-old AEW Futures contracted competitor, sparking Allin's initial attack. And then Allin dove from the top of a ladder on Joe and drove his foot into the entrance ramp, appearing to potentially injure his knee. And Joe broke up a sleeper by falling back on him, driving the air out of the challenger. But special moment. And just like on the first Dynamite of 2022, we crowned a new champion. That was new AEW World Tag Team Champions when Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus won the titles from the Lucha Brothers on the very first Dynamite, not only of last year, but also the first Dynamite of the TBS era. So another first of the year, another new champion. So congratulations, Darby Allin. Well-deserved, special moment. And go on AEW social media and you'll find an exclusive after Dynamite went off the air of Darby talking to the crowd and having that special moment afterwards. So 3.25 to 3.5 for this. Another fun little sprint. I wish it could have gone longer, yes, but at the end, they did it right and a special moment indeed. So Did Bullock start on this MF, or do I give it to him?
No, Bullock actually started it, so no,
Okay,
it goes back to me.
All right, so overall review.
Overall review, 8 to 8.5. Amazing show, a great way to start the new era of AEW. I'll go 8.5. I'll say solid 8.5. This was excellent for what it was worth. The crowd in Seattle, man, did you bring it? That's all I'm going to say. Great way to start it. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
The Climate Pledge Arena, Seattle, the home of the Seattle Kraken. And they were Kraken, literally. I mean, what a special moment. And what a great night. And why not? Because the Seattle Kraken are actually doing pretty good as of right now.
Yeah, they're doing pretty solid. They're doing pretty solid.
20-12-4.
Mm-hmm.
They're third in the Pacific Division, behind LA and Vegas. So, but they actually have a winning record right now. So, so a special. So that's why that crowd was jacked. They got a lot to cheer for down there if they keep that up. But 8.5. That's my rating. That crowd was red hot. A lot of great. Everything was. I mean, the only thing that really sucked was the Danielson and Nice fight, but everything else, not just the promo with Danielson and MJF. Let's not also forget that very intense, that equally intense promo with Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley. I mean, that was good stuff as well. So great way to start it off, and it definitely makes it even more exciting for next week when we get to the Great Western Forum in Inglewood next week for that big Dynamite show, which features the 7th and deciding match of the Best of 7 series with the Elite and Death Triangle, the Escalera de la Muerte, the ladder match for the Trios Championships. So that should be the main event as far as I'm concerned, but we'll have to wait and find out. But that's going to be a loaded show. Can't wait for it. 8.5 for me. Great start to the year with this new era of Dynamite. So Michael Bullock, take it home, and then Gorilla MF Michael Fletcher will hit us with the recap of Wrestle Kingdom 17.
Yeah, this was an 8 to 8.5 for me. A very good way to start off the new era of AEW Dynamite. I mean, the only thing that sucked was obviously the Bryan Danielson and Tony Nese match, but everything else, I mean, I thought was just amazing. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
All right, and we do indeed start off with New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest event of the year, their WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom 17, from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan, in front of 26,085 for this event. It was tagged as basically the memorial event for Antonio Inoki. As many of you guys know, Inoki passed away not too long ago. Back in October, Antonio Inoki passed away, and this was the first major event that New Japan has done that they would honor Antonio Inoki. Throughout the night, there was great tributes to him, including before the night even began, they did a 6-man tag team a memorial fight for Antonio Inoki, but I will not cover that because I was not part of the main card. This was, though. We started it off with TJP and Francesco Akira. They went up against Leo Rush and Yo for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships of the World, and catch 2x2, TJP and Francisco Akira successfully defending the titles, winning it at 10 minutes and 29 seconds. Then, the next fight of the fight that we had was the IWGP Women's Championship, as it was Tam Nakano versus Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane, the reigning champion, successfully defended the title at 5 minutes and 56 seconds. And then after the match, there was an interruption. Yes, the rumors are true. It actually happened. Sasha Banks now coming under the new name of I had Mercedes Moné. That's her name now in New Japan. Mercedes Moné. She did sign with New Japan and with Stardom, and she will be fighting Kairi in February for the IWGP women's title, and it's going to be in the United States. It's going to be at the Valley, at Battle at the Valley on February 8th from San Jose, California. That title will be on the line, and I can now announce another big announcement is that Mercedes Moné is now all elite as well. Confirmed here tonight, just a couple of hours ago. Sasha Banks is signed with AEW and will make her debut 1 week from tonight. She is the mystery partner of Soraya as they take on Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. So, with that breaking news drop, we now can, the next fight we did have was Hiroshi Gato and Yoshihashi representing Chaos going up against FTR for the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. Winners of the bout in 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and new IWGP World Tag Team Champions Hiroshi Gato and Yoshihashi. They won the titles. FTR, now they're down to one belt. They're no longer, they lost the, they had 3 titles at the time. They lost the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles back to the Briscoes. They've now lost the IWGP Tag Team titles. The only belts they now hold is the AAA Tag Team Championships of the world. So that is that. Then we had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ren Nakara. This was for the inaugural New Japan NJPW World Television Championship, as it ended up being Zack Sabre Jr. winning the belt in 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Then we had Tama Tonga going up against Carl Anderson for the Never Openweight Championship. Winner of the bout in 9 minutes and 35 seconds, and new IWGP Never Openweight Champion Tama Tonga. He finally takes the belt off of Carl Anderson. Then we had a 6-man tag team fight as it was Kirimato, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shuyo Umuto. They went up against members of LIJ, Los Ingobernables de Japón, as it was Sanada, Bushi, and the king himself, the boss himself, Tetsuya Naito. It was Moto, Tanahashi, and Umo winning the match, 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Then we had Hujiro Takahashi, the Bone Soldier, Taiji Ishimori, El Desperado, and Master Windu. Fatal 4-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And it was the Time Bomb. Hujiro Takahashi winning the championship in 16 minutes and 38 seconds. Very good match, to say the very least. The co-main event of the evening, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Winner of the bout, 34 minutes, 38 seconds, new IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, the cleaner Kenny Omega, 5-star classic, candidate for Fight of the Year. This is the New Japan candidate for Fight of the Year. This was absolutely insane. If you saw the fight, go out of your way to see this one. This was absolutely what you expected. Unbelievable matchup. New champion, history made. And then it leads us to the main event. Jay White putting the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, winner of the bout. 33 minutes and 3 seconds. And new IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the World, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, winning the title in the biggest show of the year. January 4 has been the staple for Japan. This is their Super Bowl. This is their WrestleMania. And once again, the Rainmaker makes it rain in New Japan Pro Wrestling. My boy, my man, the leader of chaos, reigns supreme again. New heavyweight champion of the world. Unprecedented crowning. History being made at the Dome. And now we got the New Year's Dash that goes down in a few hours. Now, this is like the Raw after WrestleMania. We don't know what's going to happen. There is one match announced, which was a provisional. It was a fatal 4-way. That will go down at some point tonight. And then we'll wait and see what the rest of the card's going to look like. We won't know until basically they normally lay the card out literally right at the right when the show begins. They'll give us all the matches. They'll give us all of the rundown on the fight card. A lot of the times these are all multi-man matches. So I'm just giving you the heads up right now. You're probably going to hear a lot of multi-man matches, a lot of 6-man, 8-man tag team fights. Normally this is kind of their setup for down the line and what they do at new beginnings, which I think is Nagano First, which is next month in February. So this is their setup for anything else. And then, of course, with the rumors of Jay White, what happens to him now? Supposedly, if the rumors are true, he might be coming back to the United States. Jay White might be coming to WWE. And remember about that Forbidden Door? WWE was about to go through the Forbidden Door and bring somebody for their Royal Rumble. The rumor is it could be Jay White. So I'm just gonna leave that right there. I already dropped one bomb on the boys. I know they're probably going nuts right now about the first bomb. Well, here's the second bomb. Jay White might be heading to WWE for the Royal Rumble. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to leave anything more there. I'll just leave that and say we're done. We're out of here. Tomorrow night is another edition of NFL Thursday at 10:30 Eastern. We just heard about a rumor about, two different scenarios just broke out. One scenario Anthony alluded to that just talked about that they might do, depending on what they're going to do with the rest of the schedule for Sunday and this. And then there's about something else down the line. But now I just heard something else. Just about 5 minutes ago, rumor just broke that they might do something with the AFC that might be different than what they're going to do with the NFC, where they might do by win percentage, not by actual, wins and losses. But we'll get into that tomorrow, 10:30, and then Cerebral Smack Talk. We're going to have SmackDown Live. We got AEW Rampage, and I will have that recap of the New Year's Dash, the January 5th episode, as we would say. So, with that said, for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you guys tomorrow night. And so long for now.